All right, good day, hi, and welcome. All right, I'm down here at a relatively reasonable time. All right, so I'm gonna make some more videos. Quite toasty. The humidity in here is dropping so fast. I really thought it was gonna be super humid in here for the winter. It's like 49, guys. Like it's 17 degrees, 49% humidity. Uh, Before I turned the heat on, it was like something like 59, 60 in that kind of humidity range with the windows open during the fall there, right? This place is gonna dry out like a freaking dried prune by spring for sure. Which I gotta be careful because if the humidity drops too much, I'll probably have to add put like a little. What people do if it gets too dry, if you have baseboard heaters, if you have dogs and kids and stuff like that, you got to be careful with this. But you get like a little soup can, put it about half full of water, put it on top of your registers, and that'll you know cook off and add a little bit of humidity into your house if it's too dry. Take you a week or two to notice it, but just because it's slow. But I do want to dry the place out, so I'm kind of like, yeah, no, I want to hear the wind go. All right, so I got a good video for you. Hope you guys enjoyed my Soundgarden video I did last night on my professional Canadian Beaver Walker channel. Hope you guys like that. It took me forever to get the lyrics out. I think I even still screwed them up. No, I know I screwed them up in one or two spots, but overall, I think I did okay with that song. But that took me weeks to get that song down. It's just one of those songs. I remember Amanda and I, we were doing Bruce Spring's "I'm on Fire." I've been playing that song for like decades, right? I performed it live a million times, but I was going to get her to sing it while I was playing it. For whatever, she would stumble on the lyrics. Like we tried it, guys. I swear, at least 500 times, and we only like it just every time we would try it, it was just like it was the point. Oh, I really want to do that song. Now she hears that song. I fucking hate that song. But that is being a musician. You don't play things till you get it right. You play it till you can't get it wrong. So yeah, hope you guys liked again East Coast Canadian. Matt did a good job again. You can find his channel. Just type in East Coast Canadian. It's the one with the round label that says East Coast Canadian. He's a little bit down on the list, but you will find East Coast Canadian there for sure on the YouTube stuff. But he did I called it Tree Doom. So first we got what did we get? We got Here's Marvin coming through my door. I forgot to put the one where the water comes through my ceiling and I get sucked up into the ceiling. That one was kind of funny. And then I got these weird beaver rat coming out of my cupboards, terrifying the shit out of everybody. And then I had last night he sent me. He was mocking me for my tree my tree job, and the tree like turns into this like freaking tree troll thing, and I'm like, like it's weird because like the AI looks like you, but it's not you. You know, it's kind of like a weird version, alternate universe of you. And then there's one the second video. It was so weird. It's like the tree's like flailing around with its like these scary hands with no head. And I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm like doing this like fucking dance or something. I'm like it's like, but when you look at the trailer, it's like it's alternate universe stuff because like it's a trailer, right? But then they made it into like a row of houses. I was like, that's not here. But it's amazing how crazy the AI is getting, though. Like, I'm gonna have to talk to Matt about helping me out maybe a bit, sending me whatever program he's using and see if I can. I don't know if my computers are so old they don't really do well on stuff like that. But like what you do is you take a picture and then you type in the scenario, I guess, and it's like there's a whole bunch of them. Almost every AI thing you have to pay for. Like it's yeah, and the reason why you have to pay for it is because basically the number one GDP in the States right now is data centers. It's like 92% of the US's GDP. Like it's terrifying just thinking about that. They built like 1,200 data centers, so they kind of have to recoup that money. So there's no way they're going to ever recoup all that money. So yeah, it's not about the money. But anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was fun. Um, I was 15 videos I put up on my BitChute for the Donald Trump Carney report card. I'm sure a lot of people could be mad at me on some of my stances there, but that's fine. So maybe the videos and the funny stuff over here will make it up for you. Because I still love you guys, you bunch of bastards. But I'm going to do another one on the soft gripping. I think I could put a soft gripping video on here just because it's politics, but it's not in the danger zone. So I'm just gonna do a video here about what aircraft I think is best for Canada and why. I was gonna put it on the BitChute, but the problem is putting it on that one on the BitChute because I can get away with it here on YouTube. It helps me out. Is that it's short videos and it takes for like 20-minute videos is the longest I could do with this camera because the file size is over 2 gigs, and on BitChute you can only do 2 gigs max, and then it won't upload the video, which sucks. And on this, I know what you're gonna say, Reg, lower the resolution. That's the lowest resolution on this phone. Like usually it's the opposite. You get like 3 really crappy resolutions and then 1 okay one, where this one has 2 good ones, and that's it. You can't go any lower than that. So it's either max or top, which, okay, I guess video quality wise is better, but then your file sizes are just ginormous. Like, it's a 20 gig video every time. But no, I'm going to do a assessment. I did videos last night. I don't want to be making videos all day because I want to finish up Pinto, my song. I was working on the bass line last night. And I gotta say, I think the bass is going to sound really cool behind that song. It's just working it out for like around the guitar solo, how to do the bass around the guitar solo to make it more musical, but just to be able to freaking follow the guitar solo because the guitar solo goes all over the place in that one. It's a very, very cool guitar solo. But I got to make the bass just as good, and then I got to work on the drums. So I don't know if I'll get to the drums today. My goal and hope is to have the bass completely done by the end of the day. So I'll spend a couple hours on it. But it's also too like just working it. Like last night, I just jammed with my the guitar part in the in the recording just over and over and over again. I didn't record anything. It's just like no until I have no again until I can play it, not till I get it right, but till I can't get it wrong, and really have that sound great. Then I'll record the bass because if I can get it down today, I'm gonna have to change my strings on my bass for the first time in like 3 years. It's like the original strings are about to go. I can't believe it. Because I want to start getting into the habit of changing guitar strings and stuff like that every time I record a song. But the thing is, I switch guitars every song, right? So I'm not going to be one of those guys that okay, record for an hour, switch the strings. I'm not going to take it to that level. It's like switch the strings, and then just play those strings until like the bass will probably because I only had one set of bass strings as backups. So like the next time I go to the Long McQuaid, I'm gonna have to stock up on strings even more. Like right now, I'm good for guitars. I'm good for guitars. I do need new acoustic guitars. There's no doubt about that. And there's a few other electrics I would like to have, but are not 100% necessary this year. I still got to get a new guitar amp, a new bass amp. Those are kind of more crucial. And then a PA system and new acoustics. That's even if I want to, make money as a musician a bit. I want to go into 2026 making money as a musician. Even if I can't make a living at it, I just need to get out playing live. Now I need to get a vehicle first before all this other stuff, right? So, but strings and stuff like that, yeah, I got to stock up on those. Bass strings are really expensive. They're you can buy basically 3 packs of guitar strings for the price of 1 bass string, or price of 1 set of bass strings, especially for the 5-string, right? And that's the cheap stuff, they're like 25 bucks. I don't see the price tag on that one. So anyway, but I do have to change that. But I want to get the bass part down 100%. And this bass line is going to be, it would sound really cool with the pick. I know it'd sound probably better with the pick, but I think it'll be more impressive performance-wise with the fingers. Just especially when I start doing the three finger gallops. Last night, okay, and this happens to every musician at some point, where it's like you struggle, you're learning an instrument, you're struggling with it, you're struggling with it, struggling, and one day you just pick it up, and you're well, last night was that night, so I'm like, yes, I finally made it over that hump where it's like, okay, how do you play this? Well, just learn how to play that. You can play anything. So Charles Cuthberton, you might have to step aside. Uh, Davey 504, who's an AI. I don't know if you know that, but Davey 504 is an AI, authentic Italian. Yeah, yeah. So I am an AI, authentic Italian. The guy is really like the guy. Like I wonder, like either the man is like a Vulcan and has no emotion whatsoever, but like I'd love to see all the bloopers of like how many times does he like crack up, mate? Like how do you keep that straight of a face? Like he's good at like he'd be a good stand up comedian. I love the Danny Sepko, Charles Cuthberton, Davey 504, like infighting that they do because it's so funny. Like they make all these crazy challenges, and it's usually Danny Sepko is the instigator, and he'll make fun of Charles Cuthberton, but so does Dan, and so does Davey 504. So it's like when you get it, like if you don't know who these other guys are, what happened is Davey 504 became like the king dog of the bass world just from being really popular, right? And then Charles Cuthberton has got these extraordinary talents. I mean, if you get a bass player like him, it's kind of like if you're a guitar player, you're gonna have to bring your A game just to make. Otherwise, you're gonna be wasting the guy's time. So a guy like Bernth and Ola Englund, those are perfect guys to be jamming. They put out some pretty cool music, like for guys that are like you would call them indie music, but they have their niche, right? And like Joe Satriani has his niche, but Joe Satriani had radio play and stuff like that, so he's worldwide famous. Same with Steve Vai and stuff like that. These soloists, right? Ola Englund, most of you probably listen don't know who he is, but if you're into metal and gear reviews, he's the guy. He's the guy that basically owns Solar Guitars, which I'd love to get a hold of one of them things. They look really cool. It's like, oh yeah, pointy guitar. They're metal focused guitars, right? It's like usually if I want to know how an amp's going to sound for metal, he's the guy. Okay, well he'll take this amp, test it out, and almost all the current metal amps on the market, which are getting fewer and fewer selections. Like it's because these amp modelers are kind of like the Boss Katana is like dominating the market. Stuff like that, and like try to find a Randall somewhere. Good luck. Maybe in the States it's easier to find. I love Randall amps, but they're really hard to get a hold of. The trainer amps you can still get, but the problem with the Canadian trainer amps is that, with the exception of one amp, they're all trying to just still do that 60s rocker sound, right? They don't, for whatever reason, they're scared to do modern metal sounds, which most kids want modern metal sounds. Even if they're in a pop band, they still, when you listen to pop music now, you got fucking 7-string down-tuned guitars chugging away in there. I kid you not. Like it's funny, you know what I mean? Some people still want that vintage sound, like my Fender Hot Rod Deluxes. If I want the 60 sound, I got it. I got the authentic 60 sound. I've got a 61 reissue. I've got the SG3. I've got the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. Guys, you want the Who? I got it. You want Eagles? I got it. You want even Black Sabbath? I got it. That will do those sounds. You want modern thrash metal? That will not do it. The guitar might do it, but you need to pair it up with like a real high gain amp. Rev amps, which are Canadian made, they will put Mesa Boogies to shame for gain, which is saying a lot, because Mesa Boogies, like you turn up the gain, wow, that's a lot of gain. Oh, you can turn up more? Yeah. There's a boost? Mesa Boogies are just insane, right? There's just more than you'll ever need. The problem with the Rev amps is they're in the price range of Mesa Boogies or more, right? I would love to have a Rev stack, but I don't think you could. I think they're like 9 feet tall. Yeah, like a Mesa Boogie stack's probably about 7 feet tall, and that's that's too tall. Like some stages you might not even get that on there. But the day of like, as much as I love stacks and stuff like that, those days are kind of disappearing. Like a lot of the big venues now, they don't allow people to bring big amps on stage anymore. Like no, bring some sort of a device. Like it can be an amp, but it has to be able to connect directly to the board. Just because sound engineers have figured out that having an XLR cable direct into the board saves so many issues of not having to deal with DI boxes so that your mic isn't humming and buzzing in front of the amp, right? So miking amps is like kind of the way of like it's obsolete. You don't need to mic the speaker anymore. You just need a speaker impulse in your thing. Hence why like the Blackstar, that's why I want it at the Blackstar amp 3, the metal one. I want that one. But the amp 2 has the one with the effects. So they got the amp 2 right, which will give you classic rock, like say like Motley Crue kind of sounds. Classic rock metal. Motley Crue was heavy metal in the day. But you want like, you know, Periphery kind of gains, or like Elvady kind of like, you know, really heavy, you know, saturated guitars, or Encore or something like that. Like if you want to play Encore's Venom, you need like gobs of freaking gain, and you need a 7-string down-tuned guitar, right? So these progressive metal, the amp 2 can't quite get there. It doesn't quite have enough gain to do that, but the amp 3 does. And the cool thing is the demo actually has a guitar I have, which is one of the Mark Holcomb guitars, and you can listen to it. It's like, okay, well, if they use that guitar in the recording, then that's going to sound pretty damn good. And it's a box this big. You can fly around the world with it. You know, like Satchel from what's the name of the band there? What are they called? They're really funny. They're dirty, but they're what the hell's Satchel is in which band? I'll think of it in 2 seconds. Anyway, they're like a glam band, 90s style glam band, but they're like a spoof band, but they just sing dirty songs, and they like have girls like in the audience just flashing, and they'll get a girl out of the audience, get her to flash her boobs and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, he flies around the world with this cool little amp in a box kind of thing, powered floor amp. They call them, you know, floor amps, powered floor amps, where it's like a rack effect, right? Which everybody wants that, and but you have the actual powered unit in there, so it's a little thicker. So rather than having a power head and that, this thing's called Atomic 6 and Atomic 12, and I want the Atomic 6 because you can fit it in a suitcase. So he brings a guitar and that thing in his suitcase. That's it, and then his clothes. This guy can fly all over the world. Puts it on stage. It has all the effects he wants on it. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. It powers itself, which never made sense to me why they didn't put preamps in effects. Other than the argument as well, it makes the effect the floor, your floor pedal too big. Well, it does, but it's one piece of equipment. You know what I mean? And for the amount of floor space it's going to take up, you know, whether you're putting an amp on the floor or something that's, you know, maybe that thick instead of that thick, you know what I mean? Like, it's a no-brainer. So I think that's the wave of the future, because that way people could buy an all-in-one unit. Okay, you want to use it as a audio interface? You got it. You need all the effects in the world? You got it. You know, like it's not like you don't need a separate system. Like back in the day, back in the 90s, all us guitar players had either foot pedals, and you had a pedal board this big worth $9 gazillion, because every pedal was like stupidly expensive, except for the Boss Distortion. Those things are $85 all day long for like 40 years. I don't know how that pedal is still. I want to buy one just to have one. I don't know if I want to buy a new one, but I'd buy a new one. I mean, I had the Distortion, Boss Distortion, the Super Distortion. I had it for I had the friend lend me his. We do like these like pedal trades and stuff like that. Here, you take this for a little while. I still have the Dimebag Darrell pedal. Oh, it's not up there. It's down here now. I got to give it back to my buddy and whatever. But yeah, I had the Octavator 3, the brown one. the light brown one. That one was kind of cool. It was more for the bass than it was for the guitar, but it was a cool. You could get 12-string guitar sounds with it. Stuff like that. It was really cool. But you could get like these like really crazy octaves, like 3 or 4 octaves down from whatever note you're playing. It sounded like elephants stomping around. It was great. I had the a Boss heavy metal pedal. My cousin had the DoD American metal pedal, and I remember hearing that for the first time, and it was like, wow, this was the best sounding pedal ever. Mind you, we're talking 1980s, right? So back in the day, in the room, that's what you had, right? And to us, that was the best. The Boss distortion pedal, it was good, but it didn't compress it. It was just distortion. I had a Boss overdrive pedal. Then I had a Morley Wah volume pedal. That thing, if you dropped it on your foot, you would break your foot. The thing was huge. It weighed, I swear to God, it weighed like 8 pounds. But mind you, God knows how old it was. It was probably from the 60s. I had an original Crybaby Wah. I had a Jimi Hendrix Crybaby Wah. Now I have the Hellbabe, Behringer Hellbabe Wah. I haven't used it in a while, but I'm going to have to use it with the Charbel on the next guitar solo I do with the Charbel. I'm going to have to stick some wah pedal. Somebody who's really good with a wah pedal is Jonas from Elvedi. He uses on not Premonition, not Terranosis. What's the other one? The other new song, anyway. I will think of it. I got so much brain farty today. I don't know what it is. I had really good homemade Kentucky Fried Chicken last night, and I'm still thinking about that. So like it takes up so much of my brain capacity. food takes up, like I'm like Marvin. Like it's like I go squirrel brain for food, right? Like if they made like a giant human-sized trap with a piece of cheese, I'd be dead. It's like, oh, look, snap. Oh, speaking of, I got mouse number 26 up there today. But anyway, he does a really crazy wah pedal stuff. Like for most metal bands don't use wah pedals. Kirk Hammett was known for the wah pedal, but Kirk Hammett, like Yngwie would insult him. He does that waka waka stuff, whatever. Kirk Hammett was like a huge Yngwie fan, right? And here's Yngwie just like trashing his playing. Now Kirk Hammett, I love Kirk Hammett. He's a great player, but he is sloppy. Let's be honest. He is a sloppy player. I'm a sloppy player. I know that. It takes me like a million takes to get something really clean and perfectly timed there like that. But Kirk Hammett is when he shreds, he's actually quite fast. And it's the speed that gets you. It's your pick tripping up on itself. That's what makes it sloppy, right? That's why your pick choice is really... I've been using these Jazz 5 jumbo picks for the past since January, I guess. So past 11 months. And I'm still kind of not sure if I love the pick or not, but there's things I love about that pick. But it's those Jazz 5s, those stubby Jazz 5s. You can't find them anywhere, and they were the best picks ever, and they last years. These things just last years. And I still have one left, but I actually wore it down. Like, you got to think, these things are like thicker than a penny. And they got a little groove there, but they were just the right size. Pig squeals and all that, you can do it. These are the same, but they're longer, so it's harder to get that pig squeal right. But for ultimate picking, it's like you want to shred at 300 BPMs, no problem. It's fast. It's fast. They're good. But anyway, yeah. So the wah pedal stuff, I had all that. I had Behringer pedals. I had a stereo course. I kind of regret getting rid of that one because it was a good stereo course for really cheap. And now what Behringer has done, because they're, it's like, oh, that's all junk. You can get good sounds out of the Behringers. I'm sorry, you can. They're not as good as the Boss stuff. I get it, but they are good. I had a Boss Sustainer for a little bit. I borrowed, and I had one of the original Ibanez tube screamers. I borrowed it for a little while. I had it for a couple of months, and then I think Yeah, no, I traded. I think that's what I traded my distortion, Boss distortion pedal for was the Tube Screamer because I had the heavy metal pedal, and then I ended up with a few other ones. But now what Behringer does is rather than giving you three different pedals, they just okay. Well, here you can have for $36, you can have the chorus, the delay, and the flange or whatever, or whatever it was, all in one pedal. And if you wanted a couple of you'd be able to, if you're only going to use like for me, I don't use a flanger. I used to have the Randy Rhoads kind of sound where I had the stereo chorus and the flanger, then I had like the kind of like Satriani, Eddie Van Halen stuff with the delay. The problem is the delay, as much as I like it, right? You have to shut that off once in a while. Your guitar player, your other guitar player, your other band members, and your bass player are going to yell at you. Ask me how I know. I remember Dave, my old bass player. We're on stage. We're opening up for April Wine, and in a place called Grand Central in Ottawa. It was like one of the coolest. It was the biggest stage of any bars in Ottawa that I've ever seen. It was like a 50-foot stage. It was really really good. Well, maybe not 50 feet, but maybe 40 feet. Like it was a big stage. Like it wasn't that deep, but and it was a fair sized building and stuff like that. Anyway, long story short, we're doing the sound check or whatever, and I'm like, wow, this just sounds so awesome. I got my Hammer Diablo there and whatever. And Dave's like, dude, we did a warm up song. And Dave comes up and he's trying to be as nice as he can because it's Dave, right? And he's like, dude, he goes, could you just like turn down the delay a bit? He goes, it messes up stuff. And we'd already done a few gigs together by now, and he never said nothing, right? So I said, yeah, no problem. So I turned it down a little bit, and he said, a little bit more. I turned it down again. We played something, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then by the time I trimmed it away to where he goes, okay, that's fine. I'm like, it was so faint at that point. It was just like, then I could hear how much I had on there. I was like, oh, geez, no wonder everybody was so screwed up with the timing, because if I went out of time at all with the delay, then every other, like, it's all this, like, echoing that you get with the delay, like you get that behind it. So if that's out of time, it throws everybody. It was throwing the drummer off, it's throwing everybody off. So that's why it seemed like when one person made a mistake, we all made a mistake. Now I realize I was the one causing the mistake. My bad. But after that, I turned the delay right off. And it felt naked at first because it's like, oh, my guitar's not as full sounding. But then I started hearing all my mistakes, because I didn't have that really cool sound to distract me, right? So then I went just stereo chorus. Ditched the flanger because the flanger was driving people nuts. It's cool in some spots, but like you couldn't have it everywhere. You couldn't have it everywhere. But I kept the wah pedal and all that. But I ended up because what we had also back then, what replaced all my foot pedals was rack effects, right? And the rack effects, you needed a power amp, which I had my Randall HT100, which was the same thing Dimebag Darrell used. I had the Mesa Boogie Cab, same one that's in the room over there. Yes, I've had it all those years. Because you just can't find anything better than that. Like that's about as good as a cabinet can get. It's, and they're reissuing them too. I don't think they have the same speakers in them though, but if they do, yeah, I'd like to get them. But it's like, they're god awful expensive. And you're getting them more for the novelty of having them, because the thing is they're not like stacks are not practical anymore, or really they're not obsolete. Nothing sounds greater than a 4x12 crank. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's, you can't replace that. But you can get so good of sound and clarity, and you don't destroy the frequency zones of everybody else in the band when you can go direct into the PA. You know what I mean? Because you got a flat response on the PA, which gives you a very true sound, and you can emulate it to whatever, to a 4x12 sound close enough that sure you don't have the pant legs flapping, but it's close enough. But back in the day, that's how we did it. We didn't, if you wanted to have every effect known to man, the thing was to have all these rack effects. I only had one. But I liked it because it was easy. it took me 5 minutes to hook up my system instead of 15, right? Because all the pedals, like the pedals, a lot of them I would I would pre-put them together. That's why people have pedal boards, so everything's set up and whatever you carry in the case. But then you got a case the size of a guitar case that weighs like 200 pounds because it's all these friggin' pedals, right? Maybe not 200 pounds, but you get the idea. It gets heavy. Where the Rack Effect, it was that, but you still had to have 3 power sources. Now, I was lucky on the back of the Randall, they had a plug-in on the back of that, which was really brilliant when you think about it, because they kept this in mind. Okay, not only can we go line out to the PA, which I used to do as well, and then have my cab mic and a line out to the PA, which gave me this phenomenal fucking sound. But I also had a plug in so I could plug my Rack Effect, power that up into that. But what I did is I'd have a power bar. I plug that in and plug all the other things into the power bar. So everything basically ran off the Randall, plugged the Randall in, and then the power bar ran everything else, the foot pedal to change the Rack Effect and all that, because everything needed to be powered, right? Now you can get it all in a box this size, so you don't need a big Rack Effect anymore. Like my Zoom 3 pedal, I paid like something like $100 for it. Now, mind you, the best pedal I ever had was the RP300, the Roland RP300, Boss Roland. That was really good, but I got rid of it because it couldn't run on batteries, and I got that because it could run on batteries. So when I go to jam nights, I didn't have to look for a plug-in and just plug it in and away I go. But I've never ran it on batteries yet. But the option's there. But mind you, it gets an okay sound, but it doesn't, like, it's a $100 pedal that gives me like Behringer type sounds, right? The Zoom and Behringer are kind of like similar in the quality. So you don't get phenomenal sounds, but I love the size of it because it's so small. But with the RP300, it had the built-in wah pedal and everything like that. So I was able to get rid of all of my wah pedals and everything. And it was this big, and the sounds in that thing were really good. Really good. You could play it on headphones. You could put it stereo out. It was pretty good. So I'll probably get another Rack Effect like that again. If it can go direct line into the PA, no problem. But the thing with the powered amps is that you can run it directly to a speaker, i.e. my Mesa Boogie, right? So they don't quite have enough stuff on the market yet, but I'm hoping that fairly soon they will. So I'm going to have to wrap this video up because yeah. And guys, just so you know, I'm only having one of these today. Why? Because I'm starting, it's official. My my sister-in-law's such a good cook that we're all starting to get fat, really fat. So I got to lower my sugar intake this time of year, right? So I'm not moving around as much, so I shouldn't be drinking those things anyway. But yeah, so anyway, there's a little bit of a babble video about nothing important, but I just thought I'd make it anyway. There you go.